I always knew the value of hard work. Growing up in a small, modest home with my brother Roy, money was perpetually scarce. Our father had passed away when we were just children, leaving our mother to raise us alone. As we navigated through life, the constant struggle to make ends meet became an inseparable part of our existence. One day, while desperately scouring through job listings to find a means to alleviate our financial hardships, a janitorial position at a local office building caught my attention. It wasn't a glamorous prospect, but the pay was steady, and I recognized the potential it held for contributing to our family's welfare. With unwavering determination, I embraced the role of a custodian, vowing to do whatever was necessary to support our family's aspirations. "Hey, Alice," Roy's voice carried a mixture of concern and uncertainty as he watched me gather my worn-out cleaning supplies. "Are you sure about this? You don't have to shoulder all this burden on your own." I smiled, my hand resting reassuringly on his shoulder. "We're a team, Roy. Besides, someone needs to ensure you can pursue your dreams in college." Roy's expression shifted from concern to gratitude, his smile reflecting his unspoken appreciation. And so, with that exchange, I embarked on my journey as a janitor, steadfast in my determination to make a meaningful impact on our lives, regardless of how inconspicuous it might appear. Over the years, the office building's walls became silent witnesses to my efforts. Amid the routine of cleaning, polishing, and tidying, I became an inadvertent listener to the conversations, ambitions, and intrigues of those who inhabited the workspace. In those fleeting moments between sweeping and scrubbing, I nurtured my own aspirations, envisioning a future where Roy and I could overcome our circumstances and bask in the glow of achievement. As the years rolled on, my dedication to our family's well-being only intensified. When my brother Roy revealed his ambition to attend college, I didn't hesitate to step up. I meticulously saved every hard-earned penny, taking on extra shifts and additional side jobs to ensure he had the financial backing needed to pursue his dreams. "Hey, Alice," Roy said one evening, his gaze fixed on the stack of bills I was sorting through. "You really don't have to do all this. I can find a way to manage." I chuckled softly, looking up from the pile of bills. "You know, Roy, you're not the only one with dreams. And besides, your success is my success too." The night before he was set to leave for college, I handed him an envelope containing the money I had painstakingly saved. Roy's eyes welled up with gratitude and pride. "I promise, Alice, I'll make the most of this opportunity." As Roy embarked on his academic journey, I continued my work as a janitor, finding solace in the knowledge that my sacrifices were paving the way for his future. Yet, little did I know that our relationship and the dynamics within our family were about to take an unexpected turn. Months into Roy's college life, he introduced me to his girlfriend, Claire. I was hopeful that she would understand the significance of my contributions and the sacrifices I had made for Roy's education. However, my initial optimism was soon clouded by Claire's dismissive attitude towards my job. "So, you're the janitor, huh?" Claire sneered, her tone dripping with condescension. I forced a smile, trying to downplay her disdain. "Yes, that's right. I work as a janitor at the office downtown." Roy shifted uncomfortably, seemingly torn between his loyalty to me and his desire to appease Claire. Her disrespectful behavior continued whenever we interacted, and it became evident that Roy was hesitant to stand up for me, fearing it might strain his relationship with her. As I scrubbed the office floors one evening, overhearing snippets of their conversation, I couldn't help but feel a pang of hurt. Roy's silence on the matter stung even more than Claire's snide remarks. As days turned into weeks, Claire's influence over Roy seemed to grow stronger. She managed to convince him that associating with a janitor was beneath him, and gradually he began to distance himself from me. I felt isolated and betrayed, abandoned by the person I had supported without question. Despite the turmoil within, I continued my cleaning duties, each swipe of the mop a testament to my determination to overcome the hurt and humiliation. But little did I know, an even greater betrayal was lurking on the horizon. One evening, after I finished my shift, I noticed a distant look on Roy's face. I knew him well enough to sense that something was amiss. We sat down at the small kitchen table, and he avoided my gaze, his hands fidgeting nervously. "Alice," he began, his voice laden with apprehension, "there's something I need to tell you." I braced myself for whatever was coming, feeling a knot forming in my stomach. "Go on, Roy. You can tell me anything." He took a deep breath, then let it out slowly. "Claire and we've decided to get married." I sat there, stunned, the words hanging heavily in the air. It felt as if the ground had been pulled from beneath my feet. The brother who I had supported, sacrificed for, and had always been there for, was making a life-altering decision without even considering my feelings. Married? My voice trembled with a mixture of shock and hurt. "Roy, you're barely out of college. Are you sure about this?" Roy's gaze wavered, his unease apparent. "We love each other, Alice, and we think it's the right step for us." It was clear that his mind was made up, and my protests were falling on deaf ears. As I sat there, grappling with the reality of what Roy was saying, it dawned on me that he had been slowly slipping away, influenced by Claire's perspective on life and success. The sacrifices I had made seemed to have been forgotten, replaced by the allure of a more prestigious future with Claire. After that conversation, Roy's visits home became less frequent, and our conversations grew strained. The brother who had once been my confidant and partner in overcoming adversity was now distant, entangled in a future that I felt increasingly detached from. Little did I know that this was just the beginning of the heartache and challenges that lay ahead. The news of Roy's impending marriage reverberated through my thoughts for days, leaving me with a sense of disbelief and betrayal. I couldn't shake off the feeling that he was rushing into a life-altering decision without truly comprehending its implications. The bond we had shared, forged through hardship and sacrifice, seemed to be fraying at the edges. As the wedding date approached, the chasm between Roy and me widened. He was consumed by wedding preparations, and the person who was once my confidant became a distant figure. Our conversations were strained, often revolving around superficial topics that only highlighted our growing disconnect. One evening, as I wiped down the office windows, a fragment of conversation drifted from the corridor, catching my attention. "I can't believe you're not inviting your sister to the wedding," a voice said, dripping with disbelief. I recognized it as Lisa, a coworker of Roy's who had always been warm towards me. Claire's voice responded, sharp and unapologetic. "Well, we can't have a janitor mingling with our guests. It wouldn't be appropriate." My heart clenched at her words, a mixture of anger and hurt flooding my senses. I had endured the indignity of her judgment for so long, but the realization that Roy was accepting it without protest was a bitter pill to swallow. "Roy can't possibly agree with this," Lisa persisted. "He understands," Claire replied dismissively. "He knows we have to maintain a certain image." Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring the view of the window I was cleaning. It was a painful blow to hear that my own brother, the person for whom I had made so many sacrifices, was now complicit in excluding me from one of the most significant events in his life. As the day of the wedding approached, I received no invitation, no message from Roy. It was as if the brother I had known had disappeared entirely, replaced by someone I barely recognized. The thought of him standing at the altar, pledging his love and devotion to Claire while I remained absent, felt like a betrayal of its own. Little did I know that the course of events was about to take another unforeseen turn, one that would not only expose the truth, but also reshape the foundations of our fractured relationship. As the day of the wedding approached, a cloud of sadness and resentment settled over me. The fact that Roy hadn't reached out, not even to discuss or explain his decision, weighed heavily on my heart. It was as if the years of camaraderie and shared struggles had been erased, replaced by a heart-wrenching void. In an unexpected twist of fate, the very place where I had spent years working as a janitor became the setting for the revelation that would reshape our family's dynamics. I was taking a break in the building's cafeteria, nursing a cup of coffee, when I noticed a familiar face among the office employees. It was Claire, dressed in a cleaning uniform. Curiosity mingled with disbelief as I watched her empty trash cans and wipe down tables. The irony was almost poetic. The woman who had belittled my profession, who had deemed it beneath her, was now performing the same job. Unable to contain my curiosity, I approached her cautiously. "Claire." She looked up, surprise and embarrassment evident on her face. "Alice, what are you doing here?" I leaned against a nearby table, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions within me. "I work here. I've been a janitor in this building for years." Claire's cheeks flushed, a mix of shame and realization crossing her features. I had no idea." "No, you didn't," I replied evenly. "You were too busy judging and excluding me based on my job." The silence between us was heavy with unspoken words, the weight of our past interactions hanging in the air. Claire seemed to be grappling with the truth, the disparity between her perceptions and the reality before her. "I'm sorry," she finally said, her voice small. "I was wrong about a lot of things." I nodded, acknowledging her apology, but the wounds of the past couldn't be healed with a simple admission of guilt. My heart still ached from the way she had treated me, the way she had manipulated Roy and torn us apart. As the days passed, Claire continued to work as a custodian alongside me. The once dismissive glances were replaced by a newfound humility. Our interactions were hesitant at first, but gradually, a fragile understanding began to form. We talked about our families, our dreams, and the mistakes we had made. It was as if the roles had reversed. The one who had judged and belittled now stood on the other side, experiencing firsthand the challenges and dignity of the job. During those conversations, I learned that Claire's family had also faced financial hardships, that her own struggles had shaped her misconceptions. It wasn't an excuse for her behavior, but it added layers to the story I had never imagined. And then one day, as we were taking a break together, Roy walked into the cafeteria. His eyes widened in surprise at the sight of Claire and me sitting together, talking amicably. "Alice?" His voice was a mix of confusion and astonishment. I looked at him, my expression a reflection of the complicated emotions within me. Surprised to see us getting along? Roy's gaze shifted between Claire and me, his discomfort evident. "What's going on here?" Claire spoke up, her voice earnest. "I've been working as a custodian here, Roy. And Alice and I have been talking, trying to understand each other's perspectives." Roy's face turned pale, his realization clear. "I didn't know." "No, you didn't." I echoed his words from our previous conversation. "Just like you didn't know about my sacrifices, about the hurt you caused by excluding me." Roy's expression was a mix of regret and guilt. He opened his mouth to say something, but no words came out. Over the following weeks, a series of candid conversations between the three of us followed. The truth emerged, raw and unfiltered. The pain I felt from being excluded, the pressure Claire had exerted on Roy, and the misunderstandings that had driven a wedge between our family. In those moments, amidst the vulnerability and honesty, the foundation of our relationship began to shift. Roy realized the depth of my sacrifices, the extent of my commitment to his well-being. Claire, on the other hand, grappled with the weight of her prejudices and the pain she had caused. And so, slowly but surely, the fractures in our family started to heal. It wasn't an instant fix. Wounds needed time to mend. But there was a shared determination to move forward, to rebuild the bonds that had been strained to their limits. As time went on, I continued my job as a janitor, not out of necessity, but out of a newfound appreciation for the dignity and significance of all forms of work. Roy and Claire's wedding took place with an invitation extended to me, a symbol of our collective progress. While our relationships had transformed, the scars of the past remained, a constant reminder of the lessons we had learned. In the years that followed, I rose through the ranks at the office building, eventually becoming a senior manager. Roy and Claire faced their own challenges and triumphs, but through it all, we remained a family, bonded by the intricate threads of our shared history.